Next up with the diamond method, let's say we want to solve negative x plus 6x squared equals positive 1. Now this is a quadratic equation, but everything's all jumbled up. So we got to move this positive 1 to this side. Okay? Now we can do that at the cost of flipping the sign. So this becomes negative x plus 6x squared minus 1 equals 0. Okay? So the next step in the diamond method is identifying a, b, and c. Now you might think, okay, so a is negative 1, coefficient here, b is 6, and c is negative 1. But you'd be wrong. So remember, we're always solving equations of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This is the standard form. These are descending powers of x. So we need to write this in order. So we need to write the 6x squared first, then the negative x, and then the minus 1 equals 0. So now a is 6, b is negative 1, because remember negative x is the same as negative 1 times x, and c is also negative 1. Okay? Next, our x. So on the top part, we do a times c. So a times c, 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. The bottom part, we do b, negative 1. Okay. And what do we put in the middle? Well, we need two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add up to negative 1. So those numbers are negative 3 and positive 2. Right? They multiply to negative 6, but if you add them, you get negative 1. What do we do with those numbers? We use them to split up this bx term. Let me rewrite it. So our original equation was the same as 6x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0. And we use these two numbers to tell us how to split up this middle term, negative 1x. So we rewrite this as negative 3x plus 2x, right? These add up to negative 1x. That's why we had to make sure these numbers added up to negative 1 here. And then the other two terms are still there. Okay. Then we look at the first two and the last two separately. So 6x squared minus 3x and 2x minus 1. So what can we factor out of the first two? Well, a 3 goes into both terms and an x goes into both terms. So if we factor out a 3x, we're left with 2x minus 1. Right? Because if I were to distribute this 3x, I would get 6x squared minus 3x, what I started with. And here, we can't really factor anything out of these two terms, can we? So this is really just 1 times the quantity, 2x minus 1. It's kind of a silly way to write this when you think of it. I'm just factoring out a 1, which just leaves what I started with. But I want to write it this way, because this allows me to see that 2x minus 1 appears in both of these. It appears here, and it appears here. Let me rewrite this again. Okay, so at this point, we've shown the original equation. It's the same as 3x times the quantity 2x minus 1 plus 1 times the quantity 2x minus 1 equals 0. Now let's factor out 2x minus 1 from both this term and this term. So if I factor that out, I'm left with 3x in the first term and plus 1 in the second. So here I have my product of two binomials equals 0. And this was a little bit faster Then the unfoiling method, because we didn't have to do any guess and check. Okay, so we can solve this as usual. Either the first factor, 2x minus 1 is 0, or 3x plus 1 equals 0. Move the negative 1 to the other side, it becomes positive. 2x is positive 1. Divide both sides by 2. X equals positive 1/2. Move the positive 1 to the other side, it becomes negative. 3x is negative 1. Divide both sides by 3. X is negative 1/3. So these are the two and the only two solutions to the original equation. Okay, folks, time to get hyped up. Our final diamond method problem. This is going to be a real brain buster. We have 15x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. First, draw the x. X is for extreme. Next, identify a, b, and c. So a is the coefficient of x squared. So that's 15. B is the coefficient of x. Remember, there's a secret 1 here. So b is 1. And c is the constant term, negative 2. Because this is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. A times c goes upstairs. So 15 times negative 2, negative 30. B goes downstairs. That's positive 1. So how can I factor negative 30 into two parts that add up to positive 1? Let me think. I can do negative 1 times positive 30. Those don't add up to 1. Negative 2 times 15, no. Negative 3 times 10, no. Okay, I think negative 5 times 6. Yeah, negative 5 and 6 multiply to negative 30 and add up to positive 1. Okay, so what do I do with these numbers? Well, I rewrite this 1x, this middle term, as negative 5x plus 6x. So this becomes 15x squared is still here. I rewrite that middle term, 1x, as negative 5x plus 6x. And that last term, negative 2, is still there. Okay. Remember what to do next? I hope you do. Look at the first two and the last two separately. Factor out as much as you can. So I can factor out a 5x. I'm left with 3x minus 1. You can check that by distributing. Make sure you get this. I'm going to factor out a 2 here, and I'm also left with 3x minus 1. You should always have the same factor in both. Now I can factor out a 3x minus 1 from both of these. I have 3x minus 1 times the quantity 5x plus 2 equals 0. I'll erase this and then we can solve. So either the first is 0 or the second is. What a surprise. 3x minus 1 equals 0 or 5x plus 2 equals 0. Move the negative 1 over, boom, positive 1. 3x equals positive 1, divide by 3, x equals 1/3. Not 1/3, 1/3. Move the positive 2 over, negative 2. 5x is negative 2, divide by 5. X is negative 2/5. The end. These are the two roots of the original quadratic equation. Thanks for watching.